All right, welcome to the Fairfield Shellfish Commission meeting, October 12th, 2022. Present is Bruce Kiefner, Zet Enhofer, John Short, and Sean Cohen on the line. Tim Bishop. Let me just make sure Sean's on. All right, we have a quorum. Hello.
Yeah, it's still not going through.
All right, you just have to be on this phone.
Okay. Anybody else getting through on that line?
Yeah, Tim Bishop did.
Huh.
All right, we go to Bills and Communications. This is odd. They changed the order of the...
I think they have to approve it. Do we have to approve?
Yeah, it's like they got it down to number 3.
Oh, that's my fault.
All right, we're going to change that, and we're going to approval of draft meeting minutes from September 14th, 2022. Any changes, comments?
No changes.
No.
There was a comment on communications is going to send out an email to town regarding safe shellfishing habits and practices. It was not an email, it was social media posts.
Okay. Get that. What section was that in? Do you know?
It was in communications.
Oh, communications. Okay.
All right. So the minutes are approved?
Not yet.
No.
With the
Okay.
change.
So the change was in communications to do what, Sean?
Social media.
We're not sending an email out to folks in town. We are communicating safe practices via the social channels. It was simply a different platform that we sent.
All right. So change to minutes, not sending email, but using social media.
Yep.
Okay.
Done.
Got
All
it.
right. That's it?
Okay. All right. Make a motion to approve the minutes of September 14th
With the change.
with the change.
Bruce seconds the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we're going to go to Bills and Communications. So we're at clam relay and planting. When was it? I guess a week ago. We put in about 23 bags of clams, something like 3,500 clams or something like that. You'll see $1,000 we approved at the last meeting. We put those clams in, and we never reopened, so there's clams out there. There were people that were saying there weren't many clams left, so I figured we'd just throw a few in there before we do a relay at the end of the year. So we're probably going to do a relay. We already approved it. Hopefully we can open and let people go clamming for a little while, and then we'll get a relay scheduled and shut it back down for 2 weeks. Anything else on clam relay or planting? No? All right. Tim Bishop actually joined us on the boat and handled a few bags of clams. All right, water and habitat quality.
Okay.
You got it, Bruce?
You want to do the,
Want me to do it? You got it?
what don't you, was it on the rain? Okay.
Yeah.
We're open for 5 days in September and closed for 25.
And we had 6.24 inches of rain.
And we are closed now. So,
And we're getting more tomorrow.
yeah. So we probably would have needed to test tomorrow, but now we're going to get a bunch of rain.
A couple inches.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. And if that's the case, if we do continue to be shut, maybe we get that relay done a little early. I know there's people that are coming to the desk and calling in. There's a lot of permits, though, so It'll eventually
And
open.
oyster season has opened.
Yeah, oyster season's open too. So, all right. So we'll watch the rain. Obviously, if it rains over an inch, we stay closed for another week. But we probably can't sample in the rain anyway, so we can't sample on Friday. So we'll probably, best case would be if we get less than an inch, we sample on Monday. Anything else on water and habitat? No? All right. Permits and access.
So permits, we're up to 411 sold, which sounds to me like a record.
Yeah.
Right? We were at 380 last year, I think?
Yeah.
It's 10% over last year.
Yeah, and it's only, well, I guess we're probably pretty much done. We might get a couple more.
After we post the pictures of the relay, we'll get a few more.
Yeah. So 38 non-resident, 148 senior, 225 regular residents, for a total of $7,500.
Not bad.
Not bad.
All right. Anything else on permits and access?
Well, I guess also to point out the fact that 315 of those came in online.
Yeah.
So that really ended up making a big difference for us and finally getting us
Instead of mailing
set up
out.
online. Yeah.
All right.
Makes it much more accessible
Yeah.
and easier for this department too, I imagine.
All right.
Congrats to us,
It's easy.
a record. That's good stuff.
Yep. That's that.
All right. Southport Beach reopening. Anyone got anything on that?
Now there's
Nothing going on?
I think we've been hitting some weird windows and not getting the samples. Hopefully, to your point, I'm up here in Maine. Is it supposed to rain tomorrow, you're saying, or the next few days down there?
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Okay. So I think we've got to get a little bit,
So we'll get one on Friday maybe?
hopefully, I can do it.
But will they accept it down at the lab?
They haven't before, but I'll send Tessa an email. I think,
Alyssa.
between
Alyssa.
people's schedules and when they'll accept it and when they won't, it's been tricky the last few months.
All right.
But I will see if she can make an exception. We're
Okay.
gonna get one in.
If not, I think you got, 72 hours? So we could possibly get it Friday, Saturday.
No.
Sunday? No?
I
All
think it's
right.
supposed to rain Thursday and Friday. I think it's supposed to rain both days, Thursday, Friday.
All right. Just check with Alyssa, see what she says.
Yep.
All right. We got commercial shellfish regulations. So we got 2 commercial shellfishermen here from Norwalk, and they're asking about getting a seed oyster permit for Fairfield's grounds. So we got rid of all the regulations probably like 6 or 7 years ago, and then we have just permits or regulations for Ash Creek. So we probably need to work on this. So we haven't had anyone interested, I don't know, in a while. No one's come in. The last person was Yardar, and he's basically running the fish market now. So these gentlemen are interested in getting one permit. You got both got boats?
Most of the time we use one boat, but we do have 2.
So we're going to have to, who is it? Well, it's Tim and Sean and myself, we'll go over the old permitting system, what we allow for catch and all that, and see if we want to start reissuing permits, and then exclude certain areas that we wouldn't want any oysters or shellfish caught in. So, would you guys be interested in doing a little surveying or something, or just going maybe looking at,
Yeah, anything we can do to help is just...
So where do you usually run your boats? You're in Norwalk, but you come up this way a lot?
We go where we have to go, basically.
I know, but where do you normally
Stratford's
run?
our limit, and we would rather not go to Stratford if
Right.
we have to. Bridgeport is better, but it hasn't been always...
But where do you do most of your fishing?
Well, the grounds are in Norwalk, the beds. that we had-
So your beds are in Norwalk, so you'd have to make a special trip up
But
here.
but we don't mind. We run up and down all the time. It's really what we do.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. I watch the boats go by every
I
day.
mean, we work in Westport quite a bit now. It's not that much further.
Yeah, it's not that much further around the
Next
corner.
door.
Yeah.
So we'd have to discuss if we want to start issuing permits again, where the permits would be, what the limits would be, price. What are you guys paying in Westport for a bushel?
Well, we don't. It's a flat fee, $200, and
Oh.
there's no per bushel fee. Norwalk's kind of in flux right now. It's about $1 a bushel and $100 a permit. And in Stratford, it's $25 a permit and 50 cents a bushel.
Mm-hmm.
I think I read this the other day. I read it real fast. I don't
Right.
remember. And it varies. And
All right. So I think that I got to have a discussion with the other commissioners that are on that committee. Tim's not here tonight. He has something to do. Sean's up in Maine. He's on the line. And then go over what we did in the past. See what we want to do, if we want to do it at all. Probably talk to Dave Carey and see if he has any ideas on how we could do it. We are here for recreational and commercial shellfish. That's our MOU, is to enhance the opportunities. So we're in the process of doing that, but we're not there yet.
No hurry. I mean, they won't grow anymore this year, hardly.
Yeah.
Most of it we do in the winter anyway.
I know. Yeah, we just have to figure out if there's any areas that are worth doing or not, And maybe we might want to try the theory of the third system where we collect a lot of shell.
Yes, sir.
So we have a lot of shell we have to deposit. We could possibly let you harvest a certain area of, say, like Ash Creek or Mill River,
Mhm.
and then shell it back up
That's fine.
and see what we get the next year. I know, we put down some shell this year. We put a lot of spec.
Also keep in mind, you don't want to let areas go too long, not work.
We know
You'll
that.
get predators in there and you'll have a bunch of shell then.
The predators carry buckets and come from New York.
We'll get those too.
We're talking about the little.
We had days, we try to pick them up in May and June because that's when the drills tend to walk up the beaches the most. And we had some days this year we picked up over 3,000 drills in a tide. And also if you're in there working, you at that time of the year you can scrape the drill eggs off, and all that is kind of part of managing them. So.
Yeah, we try to kill as many of the drill eggs as we can,
Yeah.
and drills. But all right, so that's basically where we're going to go. Is we're going to discuss this, and then go over old regulations. I'm going to talk to Dave Carey, see if he can come up with a good idea. We haven't had any commercial work done in Fairfield in years.
Yeah, a lot of areas haven't. Westport hasn't, and actually a couple years
Westport
ago.
has
Yara
Saugatuck.
went in there a couple years
So
ago.
Fairfield's a little bit different town.
Yeah, you're right.
We don't have islands. We don't have coves. Nothing like that. Big expanses that hold lots of, commercial catches of oysters.
But
We have
most-
some areas that have oysters, but the thing is, you guys could empty those areas in a week if you wanted to. It's not, it's not like they're Housatonic where you can go all winter long and it is still coming up, or the
We're
the point of PX.
It's 30 bushel days,
So-
maximum harvest, that's 22. It's
yeah.
not a problem, really.
So we're gonna go over it.
We're not a huge company, we don't take a lot. And we don't have a.
We don't have a lot.
We don't have
That's the thing.
we don't even have deckhands.
It doesn't. I could get all the oysters in Fairfield in 3 months, with a hand rake.
Well, when I saw in Ash Creek the other day,
What you saw in Ash Creek. I mean, if you're looking at those big rafts of oysters, those islands,
Yeah.
those are going to stay there forever. They live and they die.
That's what I
They
mean,
get
yeah.
diseased and all that. They come back. Those have been there for a long, long time. And so there's a big, I don't know the word, but it creates created a lot of interest with the state and people, and it's been a showpiece of our oysters stuff. We're planting shell all around that. We're hoping maybe we can take up that shell after we catch our set on it, bring it to another area, re-shell that. So I want to talk to Dave Carey about it. So like I said, we're almost all open water.
You could put that in the permit too, that if you harvest, then you have to be part of a limited shell planting program.
Yeah. We'd see about that. The thing is like you're doing the oystering during the winter, in the colder months. We don't put our shell in until the last week of June, first week of July. So you don't want to come back in the heat when it's 95 degrees.
In a limited capacity,
Yeah.
what's doable. I mean,
Right.
we would, we're not opposed to
All right.
with it.
Well, we're going to discuss it, go over old regulations, talk to Bureau of Aquaculture, and then make a decision. And if we decide then you guys can come get a permit.
If we wanted to stay in the loop, what do we just send the next meeting or something like that?
Well, you could email me, or I could email you, or text you, or something like that.
Email's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Put down your contact info.
In the future, we may have some ground that is going to be, they're going to dredge Mill River, and there'll be a piece of ground out there that we might need work before.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen, they're going to take the spoils from the dredging and bring it out to a 55-acre site, which is half on the Fairfield Natural Beds. So before, and this should be happening sometime soon. But
hopefully next fall.
Yeah.
Or next winter.
Next winter. So within a year. And then we want the area where they're going to put all the sand and junk, possibly if there's any clams or oysters there or whatever, harvest it out. And then they're going to put all the spoils in there and try to level it off. And then between the state and us, we're going to try to shell it up and put mature oysters in there and get an area of oysters growing out there. So
the Army Corps has the funding to do it.
So that's something to keep in mind is that, I don't know, we don't know what's down there. We don't have a commercial boat with a dredge, but there's probably something down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's right at the edge of, say, the Fairfield Natural Bed, then you have the state bed, and then the state lease beds. So there's probably clams in there at least. I don't know if you guys run clam dredges.
Yeah, we do clam. We haven't in a while, but we do from time to time. We haven't had boat set up for clam in a couple of years, but this winter we were going to put the rig back on it.
So we'll come up with a decision by our next meeting. What we're going to do, we have a couple of projects going on. We'll be able to talk and all that.
Right.
And, come up with possibly a plan.
You came by.
Is there a video in here? If I could find it, you might be interested. If there are upwellers in action. It's interesting if you have interest in it.
Oh, yeah. Norm Bloom is my landlord, so.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So in the building, well, we're kind of going off topic here.
No, I've known Norman.
They're building all his new upwellers in my building. All right, so we're going to move on from commercial shellfish. All right?
Okay.
Sean, you got anything to say?
Nope, not at this time.
All right.
Right.
All right, so we're going to go to oyster bed development. So right now, what do we got? Our SPAC collectors, we have to set a date for pulling those out. I think we're going to go with Saturday, the last weekend of the month. Is that the 28th or 29th?
29th, I think.
Saturday the 29th?
I think it's Saturday the 29th. Yeah, because
All right.
Halloween's 31st on Monday.
And I think we got a good amount of volunteers. Campbell's here. You'll be there, right?
Yeah, 29th, right.
All right, let me just get the tide set up here. So the 29th. Saturday the 29th, low tide is at 8:05 a.m. and it's plus 0.3. So it's a decent tide and it's at a good time. So why don't we set Saturday, October 29th for our SPAC collector removal and, that whole day. So if low tide's at 8, we got to pull the SPAC collectors probably around 7:30. We start. We'll have them out of the water by 8:30. So commissioners that can be there at 7:30 to pull the SPAC collectors. It doesn't matter. Whoever can be there to pull the SPAC collectors that's on the commission, and at 8:30 we invite the public, the volunteers to come and help do that.
People really did like that last year. We'll have
Yeah.
like the big sorter there again, like.
Yeah, so the
What was
sorter
that
will
one
be
group,
there.
the school that came? The woman that came with the school?
The aquaculture school. She'll be there again
That was
probably.
somebody different. I thought it was like two.
Oh.
We'll talk to Dave Henry.
Oh, Dave Henry, he texted me today in one of my emails, so I can email him now. We'll have a rain date. If it's like crazy weather on Saturday, we can have a rain date on Sunday, and it's just
An hour later.
about an hour later. Low tide's at 9:01, so yeah, it's an hour later. So if it rains, we'll just put out a blast that we'll do it Sunday. 1 hour difference. Everyone good with that?
John, I'm going to be in Philadelphia at the head of the Schuylkill
Okay,
Rolling Regatta.
no problem. We've got a lot of volunteers, so
Okay.
you'll be there. So we're all good with it, right? All right. Also, oyster bed development. Tim's still collecting shell. We obviously have the additional bunker for the shell. Our red bucket, our red bin for the public to dump their shell in
I like
has been
that.
deployed.
Oh,
Yeah, it
in
looks
the
good.
email.
I think it's great.
Tim is getting signs.
Yeah, Tim Macklin's getting signs to post on it. So part of our shelf collection program, we have to have a place for the public to dump their shells. We have that bin. It's right in front of Conservation Workshop, so it's easy. It's on wheels. Just tip it right into our pile.
Will we be hanging up signs like at Sasco so people know when they're,
Yeah, we could have some signs made.
because I mean, they're getting stuff like,
Right. Yeah,
we should be letting them know that that's where they can,
Put a sign in
Put
our,
them.
we can put it in our kiosk down there. So they can dump their shell there.
send out some blocks.
What else is going on? Campbell, what else did you do anything else with Tim Macklin other than down at the workshop?
We cleaned out some of the down lowers at Ashford,
All right, so you cleaned, dawn willers were cleaned, everything's put away, it's all wrapped up for the season,
Looks really good.
and pump is out and all that, so, all right. Well, and then, I guess this is part of it, but down at the trailer, Tim and Campbell emptied the trailer, swept it out, cleaned it, reorganized it. While they were doing that, I built a couple of wooden racks, and we cleaned out the whole area next to the trailer, put our 400 SPAC collectors on the racks, came out perfect. We got a couple pallets with the rest of our totes and all that stuff on it, our rebar. So our whole area is cleaned up down there. It was a total of 2 hours with 3 people.
Wow, you guys did all that in 2
Clean
hours?
out the trailer,
amazing.
build the racks.
It looked like it took
stack
a lot longer than
everything.
2 hours.
Well, we went to Home Depot to get the wood, but
Wow.
I mean, it was about 2 hours of work, so not really a big deal. Campbell got a few hours in, so that's good. Anything else on oyster bed development? No? All right. Communications.
So since last meeting, we sent out 3 Facebook, which is our broad reach, let's call it educational channel, posts on, let's call it bivalve safety, links to articles from CP.gov to help people understand that shellfishing anywhere other than approved or even conditionally approved, obviously, areas shouldn't be done, and hoping to get the word, if someone sees somebody doing that down in the Penfield or somewhere else, we're trying to build awareness so they can say, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not, it's not in your best interest, don't eat those. So we'll continue. So we averaged almost one a week since the last meeting. I think there's a certain sense of, this is not an emergency right now. We'll spread them out every couple of weeks. We'll send reminders of this sort of thing. But I think it's an important thing to keep communicating on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, those posts were pretty good. Bruce, you had some communication you want to talk about with the Aquaculture School?
Yes, I attended the open house at the Aquaculture School and spoke to Dave Henry, who is the director, and told him what we were doing, told him about Campbell, and he said, yes, they'd be very much interested in getting students involved, A, and B, they had produced for the open house a video for parents whose kids' teachers weren't there to give an overview of the facility. And I said, and that was student produced. And I suggested that we have a really good story to tell with what we're doing, with how we're farming oysters over in Ash Creek and fat collectors and everything else that you're seeing. If we could put that into a video story, just like they did. And he said, yeah, that would be that would be fun. And I also talked to Paul Troop, who's a teacher over there, and about possibly doing some work on the boat if we could get that done. Something else we might consider. But they're all, very upbeat about it.
All right, good. And you're going to contact those students about the video?
Yep.
All right. All right, my battery's running out on Sean, so we're going to move on to downwellers. Obviously, the downwellers are shut down. I think over the winter we're going to try to come up with some ways to possibly get some more flow through them, and see about if we are going to use the totes for, if we get clams from Jimmy Bloom, has said he could provide us with a decent number of clams for the downwellers. What we're going to run those through in. We'll reach out to some people in the field and see what they have to say. Anything else on downwellers? No. All right. Reports from the Conservation Department. Our shellfish fund balance is $34,036.12 as of September 30th. It could be a little higher now. It could be a little less.
Those dates below there, sorry.
What?
The dates, I think it did say August on there.
That's for the permits. I think that's right.
Okay.
For the fund balance, it was September 30th, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, shellfish permits, obviously we sold 411 through September 30th. So we'll make that change next week, or next month, sorry. Our shellfish closure period for 2022, as of probably September 31st, or September 30th, open 185 days, closed 88. So we're still on track for, being open 2/3 of the year, which is fairly normal. Budget status, status quo, right? We'll go to approval of draft meeting minutes. We already did that, sorry. So we're going to old business. Any old business anyone wants to discuss? All right. New business. Tim Bishop, you out there? Nope.
I feel like he got muted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's muted. They said he could
He said he could unmute himself.
Right.
So he'd have to unmute himself.
Tim,
All right.
are you there?
No, he's there and he's saying something, we can't hear him. Tim went to the Westport Shellfish Commission meeting and discussed something about Westport collecting shell and bringing it to Fairfield. I think we need to discuss that with more members present because we discussed what their shell is gonna do here, if
He says
we're
he's
gonna
there.
handle
He's
it.
on mute.
All right, well, let's just go through this. You know, is it gonna be, are we involved in any way, you know, our volunteer hours handling Westport, or are we gonna work together? I'd really like for Westport's commission to come to our meeting to discuss this. So until we discuss it with Westport, we really, I don't think we should do anything until we know what they actually wanna do.
I don't think they're collecting the shell.
No, probably not yet. So we have some time. Any other new business? Informational? I had something informational. Shoot.
John, so on the new business, we talked about last time about the courtesy of the Shellfish Commission.
Oh, yeah.
So I went in and spoke with the GM at Grey Goose and at Artisan, as it is my observation that those places move oysters. I followed up with an email. I shared that email with Tim Macklin to put out there potentially with our Shell partners. So rather than sending the email, Tim and I are going to go by Bryac on Sunday, I think midday, and just sort of, start that conversation with them as well. So the conversations are happening about the concept that we talked about. I guess my question is, do I need to put the email that we're following up with into, file it with somebody here on the call so that there's record of it, or are we just going to report back on what the response is?
You just report back. You don't have to put anything on file.
Okay, that's fine.
I think Old Post Tavern would be a good place to talk to also, because I think they run specials on Wednesdays where they do oysters and clams for $1.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people that go, so I think they're definitely someone to also approach about it. I think they do a fairly decent amount.
All right.
Sounds good.
So if we start adding more restaurants, if they're going to start, saving shell for us, we're going to have to split up the task of collecting the shell. So we got to be careful as to how many restaurants we want to add.
Is this about collecting the shell, or is this about doing this courtesy?
This is about doing this thing, but you mentioned shell partners, so just...
Okay.
Yeah, I think it deepens a relationship with the Shell partner, but I don't think it needs to necessarily just be relegated to Shell partners.
Okay.
I think
right.
We're looking to...
I don't think we need to add any
dollars back to
right.
places where taxpayers are frequenting.
Whoa, wait a second. So we're not taxpayer dollars.
Well, we're essentially building up money from permits.
Right, but yeah. Well, just don't use that taxpayer dollar thing. Let's delete that from the thing.
That's fine. That's fine.
I just don't want. There's people that read these minutes, and All right. So you're working on that still? You and Tim are going to go visit?
We are. We haven't gotten a commit yet from anybody, but I think by next month we'll have a sense as to whether this is going to go somewhere.
All right. Sounds good. Informational also. Tessa emailed me or texted me the other day. Give me a second, I'll find the text. If I can find it. So, here it is. She wrote, "Hey John, how are you? And we're down in your neck of the woods today. Last minute trip with someone from PDS. What do you think that is? PDS. I don't know. But we brought him out to see the restoration work, and he states natural beds, and obviously there's not much to see because it's all underwater. But since it was a beautiful day, we ran over to Ash Creek to show him your work. So when I hear back from him with some video, I'll share it with you. Just wanted to give you a heads up now, hopefully a little bit of publicity for you guys for all the great work you've been doing over there." So PDS must be like public...
public broadcasting.
You think she meant PBS, like public broadcasting? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to get a little bit of some more publicity. It's more press. You know, our oysters will, not us. Anything else on informational? All right. Other?
John, did anything happen with the NPR?
No, they haven't contacted me yet, so
Okay.
just waiting for them to contact me, and then I'll probably have to start studying to answer those questions. No, they give me the questions and the answers they want. So, public comment, Campbell, you got anything to say?
I don't think so, no.
All right, you guys got anything else?
About what? specifically?
Anything?
I just have a question.
Go ahead.
On your shell program, what sort of numbers do you look for? I mean, how many buckets do you get annually from your bucket system? And if you had to plant shell, if you had another source, what sort of numbers are you looking for to plant?
So we're not looking for numbers to plant, and then with the shell from the restaurants, we used to do 6 or 7 restaurants, and picking up that shell, like in 5-gallon buckets, is a lot of work. Yeah. And in a pickup truck, you can really only get about, 15 buckets, maybe 20 buckets in there. So 4 gallons is a half bushel. Figure a 5-gallon bucket is a half bushel. He's picking up 15 bucks, 7.5 bushel. So, we've been, for our needs, we don't need a lot of, we're not commercial, we're volunteers. And we're just doing this to enhance the biomass and that. We try to enhance our recreational bed also with some oysters. Obviously, we relay clams and buy market clams and stuff like that. But so we have one person that picks up the shell basically every week. Tim Macklin, he's not here, but he runs around to the different restaurants and gets them. I think what we're getting now is enough shells. So, we have a pile right now. I don't know, maybe it'll fill up this little room here, from there. And then that's like dry shell. There's more than 100 bushels in that pile. Shoot. I mean,
that's 100. That's between 100 and 200. From that room.
I took 250 bushel off the pile, and it might be bigger.
Yeah,
because I took 250 bushel off the pile, and only cut it down like a quarter. There's probably 1,000 bushel in the pile, I'd say. And then we have, so that's the cured pile, and then we have a fresh pile that we fill up for 6 months, and then we move that over. So we plant the one pile we have, move the other pile over, and that's about all we can handle.
Yeah.
But now Connecticut set a shellfish restoration plan into effect. They have a law and everything, or a bill that got passed, and so a lot of other towns start collecting shells. So
what law got passed?
There was a shellfish restoration bill that got passed, not a law, and it provides funding and a guideline for all these different towns on how to start enhancing the shellfish, shellfish population, mainly oysters, because there's nothing we can really do to make clams grow.
So not without a lot of work and a lot of
like I said, we're volunteers. Oysters are
the biggest problem with clams is you don't get them big enough in the first year, and you have to winter them over. And you can't winter them over without having them in some kind of substrate, or else they die.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest challenge. So basically, and if you plant them before they're big enough, the crabs just annihilate.
Yeah.
So that's why nobody really does clams.
Right. So the blooms are they're trying to do clams now in their upwellers. So we're going to try using some of their clams in our downweller, see what they grow in the period that we can put them in there, and then try planting them on certain areas of our bed. This year we've planted some steamers, some soft shell clams in a certain area, about 25,000. So after about 6 months, we're going to go back in there and see if they even survived at all. If they did survive, then we may do more. If they didn't survive, it was $600.
Is it the first year you've done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say the winter is the problem.
Yeah, there's a couple guys in Bridgeport Harbor over in Aquanic that had them, and they had to get into the sand, or they were going to die. So we just took them from them and planted them. All right. Anything else? No? Tim Bishop says we have him muted on this end. So
We just followed the instructions.
he can hear us. So. All right, who wants to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second the motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.